If I hold up this apple, all of our frames of reference are very different, and they dictate how we define this simple fruit, this apple. Now, if I were a farmer, what would this apple represent? Money? Crop? If I were in, say, the ministry, what would this represent? Adam and Eve, Garden of Eden. If I were a techie in computers, what would this represent? I heard that. Apple computer, absolutely. How about if I were in healthcare? Healthy snack, yeah, good fruit. How about if I were a school teacher? Sucking up. Now, dependent on our frames of reference, depending on what we have learned, this means something different to each person. And that's why it is my personal job to make sure that we have common definition. Because this is where conflict happens. And I'll tell you what I know about conflict. If you have conflict in your life, it's your fault. If you have issues with other people, it's your fault. So what are you going to do to change it? Are you going to be more flexible? Are you going to get rid of them? Are you going to get rid of those friends? It is totally 100% up to you. I have had to learn how to be a better person. And these are learned skills. Biggest problem I have, they're not taught in school today. They should be, but they are not. We really need to make sure that we become the role model for our children and for other people, whether you're a leader in your company, a leader within your social groups, whatever it might be. It is your job to make sure that you're doing that. Now, how many of you have someone in your life that comes to work like this? And they'll come dragging in, and they'll say, "You won't believe what happened." Then they'll go to the next person, they'll say, "Ed, you won't believe what happened." Then they'll go to the next person, they'll say, "You won't believe what happened." See, and they can suck the life out of a work team in about half a day, right? Now, I will no longer let this kind of person influence me. I will create my own environment by using the TLC. And using it internally is important to make good choices, but it's also important to use it as a communication tool. So what I've learned to take personal accountability for my own environment, and what I will do is that I won't let them suck the life out of me anymore. They approach me, and I'll use the TLC, the take it, leave it, or change it on them. I use it internally, I use it externally. They come up to me, and I'll say, "You know what I've learned in life? I've learned that I always have three choices. I can take it, which means I have a plan. I can leave it, which means I'm going to reject it or walk away from it. Or I can change it, which means I learn. I become more flexible. And then I will ask them this, and here's the key. So what's your plan?" And they'll say, "Well, you know, it's a jungle out there." And I'll say, "I know. And what I've learned in life is I always have three choices. I can take it, I can leave it, or I can change it. What's your plan?" And they'll say, "Well, you know, I have no control over very much." And I'll say, "I know. And what I've learned in life is I always have three choices. I can, help me with this, I can, or I can. So what's your plan?" Now, I probably won't change this person, but what's going to happen? They're going to leave me alone. They're going to go suck the life out of somebody else. Because I have learned how to be flexible to that negative environment and how to use a tool that will ensure that I am moving forward, to make sure that I am in total control. It's a great, great technique to use. Some people are considered in this particular group, these are the squares. These are the people that are very well balanced. They're very even-keeled on every side. They're wonderful contributors, and they're really as solid as a rock. They're great. They have a lot of knowledge. They're really good. Now, how many of you might include yourself in this square group? Let me see a raise of hands. Okay. Some hands up. Okay. Then we have the circles. These people are well-rounded. Okay. They kind of roll with the punches. And when conflict or anything happens, it's kind of like water off a duck's back. It just doesn't bother them. They get around, get it? They get around and really have a really good base. How many of you would consider yourself to be a circle? Let me see a raise of hands. Okay, we've got some hands up there. Now, we have the triangle group. These people are highly creative. They have a wonderful base to build from. And these two sides kind of go up like a vortex. And this allows all that creativity to come in. These people are fabulous brainstormers. These people actually start change. They just don't manage change. They will be the instrument to start change. Now, how many of you think you're a triangle? Let me see a raise of hands. A lot of hands up there. Now, this is one, the diamond, that is a little bit unusual. These are the people that are totally obsessed with sex. How many of you want to change your vote now? Just kidding. Actually, this whole thing about the square and the circle and the diamond and the triangle, I made it up. And I think what we have to do is be really careful of labeling people. And I think that so many times we go through the DISC, we go through the Myers-Briggs type indicator, we go through all these assessments, and then we give people labels. I think we have to look at our own flexibility. We have to have an understanding of where we are, but indeed we have to move on and be just a little bit different. Critically important for us to understand it is up to me. I have to be the CEO of myself.